All right, welcome back, everyone, to the School of Greatness podcast. We've got Kerri Walsh Jennings in the house. Super excited.
Oh, me too.
The icon. I've seen you. I've seen you play a number of times. I saw you in London. It was my first Olympics that I went to, and I told myself, and you were one of the only few sports that I actually watched. I remember watching from the top in London. It was like a nice little venue.
Amazing venue.
It was cool. Yeah. And somehow I think I connected with someone from Gatorade who was like had extra tickets, and I was in there and I was watching you guys. It was amazing. I watched you in Rio as well.
You did?
I was there in Rio.
Oh,
yep.
A good game or a tough game? Did we win or lose?
I was just looking at my phone before you got here because I thought I had videos of it, but I couldn't find it, so I have to go back.
Let's just say we won.
You won that game for sure. And that was amazing. And I remember going to London as my first Olympics to attend. And I was like, I can never miss an Olympics again.
Oh, really?
It was amazing just to experience it.
I cannot wait to experience it as a spectator. 100%.
Right?
Yes. I want more as a competitor.
Yeah.
I want one more. But my goodness, they do such a great job.
It's unreal.
It's unreal. And then you just feel like you're floating everywhere because the energy is like so electric.
So cool. But you don't get to experience that at all, do you?
No.
You're just focused.
I mean, you know how it is when you're competing.
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm here to do one thing. And sightseeing and all that stuff is for later. But no, we're on a mission. Usually for volleyball, we go almost the whole 2 weeks of the Olympics. And we play every other night until the playoff rounds. So you're just like, the hardest thing in the world is to wait for your next match. Yeah. You know, you have like 24 hours plus. You're like, oh my gosh. When usually we play 2 or 3 matches a day. We're like rolling.
You do one match and then you wait 2 days.
Yes,
a day and a half.
exactly. So it's
what do you do
a
with that
mental
downtime?
Man. Well, I have my children and my husband, so that's wonderful. But I find myself, it's really hard. Like, I have not mastered that, and I don't know if I can, because I want to be with, like, my kids didn't go to Rio because Zika. Mm-hmm. We were worried, but my husband went. But when I would be with him, I was so anxious and tense, and it wasn't fair to him, and it's, like, really hard to express, like, I love you so much, and I want to be with you, but I can't. He's like, well, you have 2 days. I'm like, I can't.
This is the 2 most important weeks of the 4 years for you.
I mean, I guess so.
Right?
Ultimately, yeah.
In those 2 weeks, you should be so dialed in and focused. Yeah. You need to be selfish.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I'm of the mindset where I just want to have so much fun, and like I want to win with my people, like living life. I'm obsessed, and I'm like intense and all these things. But I also want to have the flip side of that, because that's just, I think that's possible, and I have not done that yet. And so
you mean like having fun, being with your friends
and dominating,
family, and your team, and winning every game, and just like not all this pressure and stress.
Yeah, well, and I don't even see it as pressure and stress. Like I'm in like a little vacuum when I go to the Olympics. It's like we don't stay in the village because that energy is intense. We stay there for like 2 nights before opening ceremonies, and then we're like, peace out. Because some people are done the first day, and they're just raging and hanging.
Like drinking and having sex with everyone in the village.
Apparently,
it's going crazy.
All those stories. I mean, can you imagine 4 years of just waiting? But yeah, so we kind of disassociate from that. But like, to me, it's just another tournament. Like, I kind of have the Hoosiers mindset where, it's like the same court, all the measurements are the same. Exactly. Yeah. So, and it's so true. And then we don't watch TV. Usually we're in a foreign country, and I don't really watch TV anyway. And so we just kind of go in your little cocoon, know what you want to do. But I just want to do it with a little bit more lightheartedness. Not hang out with my family all day long before a night, a match or whatever, but just
some quality time.
More balance.
Now, I remember watching some interviews of you talk after you won the bronze.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people ask this all the time.
It depends on the day you hit me. I'm like, what? What do you got?
And I remember you talking about, maybe it was in Tom Bilyeu's interview or somewhere else, or maybe it was briefly after the Olympics were done, where you said it was like one of the greatest lessons for you. It was like your most happy medal. It was not happy, but it was like you learned the most from it. You were like, I'm grateful we got this bronze. Something like that.
Oh, well, we won the bronze, right? Like, we won. Like, to go from like utter devastation, like literally...
Of not getting into the gold.
Yeah, not even just that, because I've lost so many times in my career, but it's like losing a certain way, like not playing great. And it was my fault. Like, that's how I framed that entire match. And so to miss out on this opportunity, not only my dream, but my partner's dream and our family and our team, like, that's how I framed everything. So the 24 hours, the less than 24 hours between the semifinal match loss and the time we played, I was a wreck. like such a zombie, just like literally walking in circles. Do you ever walk in your head like, what am I doing?
Right, because you've never been in that position before.
Never.
You
but
always made the gold medal
there
match.
was so much shame and so much embarrassment and like, oh my God, this is crazy. But to get the opportunity to go and live another day, to fight another day, my husband at one point, he's like, you got to stop feeling sorry for yourself. You have another chance. Like, this is so rad. Like, go and be an American and show that spirit. That's what America is made of. And I was like, dude, it's so right? Like, I try to live with the Christmas spirit in me every day and the Olympic spirit in me every day. And losing the semifinal match was such a great opportunity for me to just like, I guess, look in the mirror and be like, are you going to practice what you preach right now? Suck it up, be a woman, pull your boots up and go get them, you know? Or are you going to feel sorry for yourself?
And lose the bronze.
Right, and lose the bronze.
And go out in 4th place.
Dude, the worst. My first Olympics, we got 4th. It's so hard.
Where was that? Was that
in indoor in Sydney 2000.
Sydney 2000. Oh, yeah. Indoor.
Indoor.
You did indoor Olympics.
Indoor, yes.
I didn't even know you were in
So I was
Olympics.
finishing at Stanford, and then I took like a year off to do that. But we got 4th, and we kind of overachieved. So it wasn't that much of a heartbreak.
It was like we got as far as we could go.
Yeah, and we coulda, shoulda, but we didn't, and it was okay. You know, I don't know, it was more okay. I hate losing.
When was that? What year was that?
That was
2000.
Yeah, so I was 22.
This is 2020. You've been in the Olympics for 20 years.
I know, I'm an old
You're a
lady.
machine.
Yes, I'm going to take that.
Wow.
Yeah,
20 years in the Olympics.
Yeah, so that's 5 Olympics, going for 6. And I want 6 so bad. I wear a 4. My husband, oh my gosh, my husband was like, I'm like, babe, do you like my new necklace? So I wear this gold 4. And he's like, yeah, what does it mean? I'm like, what? I'm like, can you take one moment and think about it?
A gold 4, yeah.
Yeah,
4 gold medals.
And he literally, exactly, this is what I want. And I like to, you know, rep myself and what I want. And this is, I just got this weekend. It's a black figa, which is very popular in Brazil, but it's like empowerment and it's just like a sign of strength.
Wow.
And I was like, that's a sign, I'm going to wear it. And it's kind of Black Mamba-ish.
It is very Black Mamba. I love that.
But anyhow, it was an opportunity to like live by my values, you know, which is never quit, never say die, you know, step up to the challenge and just give it my all, you know, and winning the bronze was the hardest thing ever, mentally and emotionally.
I remember
Volleyball's
watching
volleyball,
after that.
but my God.
You were like crying. You were like excited, crying. You were doing your post interviews. It was just like you're so happy. I remember being so happy.
What a relief.
I remember seeing you high five like everyone around the arena.
Well, that's what I do. I can't.
But you were so like, we won the bronze.
Oh, it's so fun. You know, and something that I really, really want to do on the way to qualifying for Tokyo and then in Tokyo, like I don't want to feel relief after a win. I want to really feel like
excited.
Exactly. Satisfaction. We did it, we knew we can do it, and we're living in our greatness.
Wow.
You know, because after winning that bronze was total relief.
Because what if you'd gotten 4th?
Yeah, and it was just, and it was ugly. Like, we won ugly. We did not play great volleyball, but we won. And I think it was like the perseverance and literally the American spirit, I believe, that fueled us to win, because that's something special, you know?
It is very special.
Yeah.
What do you think would have happened if you got 4th in the last Olympics? Would you still be competing, or would you be...
I have no doubt. You know, I think... part of the reason, like I'm so confused why we got 3rd. Like I'm so confused about that whole semifinal match. Not that I always play perfectly or we always won, but like we were the best team in the world. Like we were playing amazing that tournament. And there was, everything felt great. And it was just a night, excuse my language.
It's okay.
Beep that one.
It's okay.
But I really think I would have retired, and I would have retired prematurely.
If you won a gold?
If we won a gold.
Wow.
And if we won a 4th,
done.
I would have... It might have taken me longer, perhaps, to say I'm coming back, but no way, I just wasn't done. On the way back from Brazil, I think we left the next day, flying back, and literally in the back of my book, or the seat back, you know, pocket, they always clean it out the flight before, right? In the back of the pocket, there was a book, you either win or you lose, but the lose was crossed out and it said learn. That's the book there that someone left. And I'm like, okay, God.
Wow.
Okay, I'll do it, you know? So I'm still learning. And this quadrennial, I kind of lived my life in 4 years, right? Which you can understand.
Of course.
But it's been really challenging, because it's like, instead of being here, the alpha, like on top, winning consistently, like Brooke and my partner, Brooke Sweat, who's incredible, we literally started at the bottom and we're making our way up. And our process.
How do you start at the bottom? What do you mean?
So I had, after after Rio, I had a couple surgeries. You lose points. I had terrible finishes with my another partner, so you lose points, right? And then Brooke had surgeries, didn't have a great year, so we had no points. And you need entry points
to get in tournaments.
To get in tournaments. So
even
we
if
had
you've won gold medals in the past, 100%. It doesn't matter?
Yeah, someone's like, let's just grandfather you in. I'm like, you're crazy. I would be so insecure once I got there.
Wow.
You know, you need to be sharp. And you need to be sharpened by the world competition, you know. So anyhow, it's been a crazy 3 years so far with Brooke and I'm just ready for smooth sailing, you know. And for us just to take up our space, like we're both so hard on ourselves. We just had a tough practice this morning, and I'm like, why are we so mean to ourselves? Like, we know how to play volleyball. We are both excellent. We are so good, and yet we make one mistake and it like affects everything. We get quiet. We like.
Why do you think you beat yourself up?
Man, just a bad habit. I don't know. I feel like my framework for so long in my life was like, just do it right and don't F up, you know?
And what if you mess up, then
you fail, you know? And it's just, my life, like, I was so supported, but there's a lot of excellence in my life and a lot of very high expectations and things that I'm so grateful for. But the flip side of that could be that you identify yourself with your victories, with your successes, you know, with your performance. And I certainly do that. I still do that.
Really?
And Rio helped me break through that a little bit. Becoming a mommy, leaving the sport for, you know, a couple years, getting pregnant, having babies made me show that I'm very irrelevant. You know, like the world moves on
if you're not performing,
so fast,
if you're not winning and playing, it's
or
like,
just exactly. And so that kind of made me kind of own myself as a human. But the losing and the poorer performances, I still have a tough time with that because I'm like, God, I'm better than this. And B, it's just that mental framework before is if you're not winning, you're failing. Like, I need to shift that because it should have never worked. It worked for a long time, that fear of failure. It pissed me off. It motivated me. But now it makes me smaller and it doesn't serve me in a powerful way.
In what ways it makes you smaller? Like internally you feel smaller or you feel...
I kind of live in the what if. Instead of I'm doing this, like, F you, get out of my way, it's like I'm kind of on my heels more instead of like stepping up. You know, like I always want to be a hunter when I compete. And the mindset to me is everything because I work my ass off. Like I'm so strong and I'm so physical and I love training. The mental and the emotional side of it is so challenging. You know, it's as an individual human, as a woman, and then combined with my partner, who has her own amazing, you know, ecosystem of emotion and all these things.
Life partner or your
well, both, but we're talking volleyball here.
Gotcha.
But you know, because it's like, and it's so cool in volleyball. Like, you know, I was thinking about this. In all of the world, it's such a unique sport because it's 2-on-2, right? Like, you have doubles tennis, but you are solely responsible for that return or that hit. I set my partner up. She sets me up. So there's a whole other dance element to it and connection element to it. So I'm rambling, but it's really fun. It's what I love the most about the sport is that aspect of it, but also that I have to pull my weight. You know, we have to lean on each other, but each be super autonomous and like capable of handling our, you know what? So it's a beautiful sport.
What do you think is the biggest weakness you have mentally?
My self-talk.
Okay, so let me break this down. You're the best in the world.
I was.
Okay, well, you're arguably
like, and it pisses me off to say that. I should just let you roll with that.
You're the best in the world. Just because you got third 4 years ago in a tournament doesn't mean you're not the best still.
But
LeBron James loses too.
No, I know, but it's different.
He lost a couple weeks ago, didn't he? Like,
every time I play, it's for a championship. Like every single time.
Really?
Every time.
I mean,
you have a tournament, but like if you lose, you're out of the tournament. So there's another champion. You know what I'm saying? Like
for that tournament champion.
Yes. Gotcha. Like it's not a season.
How many championships are there in a year?
I mean, there could be anywhere between 10 and 20.
Okay.
I mean, we've played seasons where there were 18, and we won
all of them.
Yeah.
All of them?
I think Misty won, and I won all of them. And so I've tasted that.
So what have you been, I guess, in the last 12 months?
We won one last year.
Out of how many?
Oof. And we played the most of anyone in the world. Over 15.
And these are world championship tournaments?
World
They're not
tour
just like
events.
U.S. World tour events?
World tour. So you're playing the
Best
Olympics, basically.
So you won one out of how many?
We won one. Over 15. We made
maybe
finals? 3 finals. But I don't care. You know? Wow. So this is what I do.
So wait a minute, when you go into a practice, let's break it down. When you go into a practice this morning, for example, it's just an everyday normal practice where you're going hard, you guys are practice. I'm assuming you're practicing against men, right? Like who
we have
are
two coaches.
bigger, faster, stronger type of mentality.
Yeah,
like,
often.
yeah.
Yes.
And so normal practice happens, and you don't do what you know you can do. You don't do what you're capable of. You miss the block, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know the terminology perfectly, but you
No
miss the certain stuff that happens. What do you say to yourself when you do something that's not perfect?
I mean, you would need a couple beeps. Like, what are you doing?
You'll say this internally.
Oh, yeah.
Not out
And
loud.
I'm sorry, kids.
You're good. No, say it.
But yeah, it's kind of like, but it's not deep the way I say it or mean it. But like death by like 1,000 paper cuts is a real thing, you know. And there's like fear behind that, and there's weakness behind that. And I think anything, like everything is energy. So if that's like I'm creating momentum with those thoughts and with the that internal dialogue, and I need to stop it, and I need to be like, Kerri, you're on your way. Like this is a process, and so what I'm coming to learn. That I have to love the process. Like I have to make the decision and then just be done with it. You know, because you only fail if you just frame it that way. And I'm not going to quit. You know, that's the ultimate failure to me, or having a poopy attitude and like ending on those terms. That would be quitting. But the process is a beautiful thing, and I love it. I just have forgotten that I love it.
Now, how often do you say positive things to yourself, or do you only speak positively internally when you do something right?
You know, I don't know how to answer that. Yeah.
Do you speak positive self-talk internally?
In my life, I do. Like I'm a happy girl.
I mean,
look at the rainbow. Look at the butterfly. I look great. You know, I don't know. You know, our coaches do a good job being like, "That's what good looks like." You know, that was great, Kerri. You're doing this good, and I tend to only hear the criticisms, so I don't even.
You don't even hear that.
Much.
It just goes in and out,
No.
and then you wait until but you can improve there.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
So you don't even say anything positive to yourself?
I mean, during matches, I for sure do.
But not
I'm
during
better
practice.
there. No, but I so believe in practicing like I compete.
I've seen videos where you talk like that.
No,
You're
100%.
like just as intense in practice.
Yes. Well, yes, and now it's like I'm too on this side of the spectrum, too intense, too aggro.
I wonder if you were this negative, to yourself, like, but maybe that's what's driven you to be successful. I don't know.
No,
I wonder
it's
what it'd be
not.
like if you were
It's not
positive for a
sustainable.
week.
No,
like,
I know,
to yourself.
exactly.
Just you practiced it daily for a week.
I love it. So I listen to Abraham Hicks every day, right? Love
Amazing.
her, love them,
Yeah.
Law of Attraction. So what I'm doing
I'm trying
now.
to interview her. Yeah, she'd be great.
Are you?
Well,
Can I
she's like
come?
impossible, but if you have a connection to her, let me know.
I don't, but I'll try for you.
Yeah. Oh. You'd probably fill the whole building. Yeah.
No doubt.
Anyway, so go ahead. You try to listen to her
Oh my
every
God,
day.
sorry. I just visualized that. I would like to be there. Thank you.
Okay.
So she tells you if you're in a funk, she's like, A, don't talk about it, which I'm obviously talking about it. And she's like, B, just like write down lists of the positive aspects. You know, what's going good?
With the funk?
You know, with my game.
Okay.
With the day, with my relationship with my husband, with you, with my partner. You know, like just focus on the good is the bottom line. Because again, every thought is momentum in one direction or the other. And I swear to you, I live my life that way. For some reason.
But not in practice.
Not lately.
What?
I know, and it's driving me crazy. And it's such a disservice to my team. Like I'm being a selfish athlete right now. And it's almost like, I don't know, I mean, you're a man, I don't know if you get this, but like when women are on their periods and they're just like so hormonal, and like I have these moments where like I'm being an a-hole and I can't help it, I'm just gonna run with it. Like I know I'm doing this, but it's like almost like it has control over me.
Really?
And I think it's just like there's fear, like I want what I want so bad.
There's fear of what?
Of not qualifying, of not being the greatest ever, like of not achieving this dream of 4G, you know, like, yeah. But mostly not doing it the right way. Like I can lose. I can totally lose. I fear losing the wrong way.
What's the wrong way?
Like
not trying, you mean? Or
no,
like,
that would never ever happen.
So what's the wrong way of losing?
I don't know.
What's this fear?
I guess not winning. Like it's just the bottom
So you have
line.
a fear of losing.
I have a fear of losing.
Not qualifying, getting a silver or bronze or not a medal at all.
Yeah.
What would happen if you didn't qualify or if you didn't get the gold medal?
All good. I mean, I would be so bummed, and it would fuel me in other areas, and I'd be like, yeah, it'd always be something, a pebble in my shoe. But I've lived my worst nightmares. Like, I've lived it. You know, I've lost on the world stage. I've almost lost my marriage. Like, I've lived hell on earth, my personal hell on earth.
Right,
you know,
right.
to other people, they're like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Which is totally valid.
Sure. Your own personal experience is still traumatic and challenging in its own way.
Totally. And
even
it
if
means
you've won
something
3 gold medals.
Exactly. Call me greedy. I don't care. But I've lived really, really hard things in my life, and I've survived.
What's the hardest moment you've been through?
In my career?
In your life?
In my life. Oh, man. Well, losing loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that takes the cake. We've had a lot of loss in our
Really?
family. But our faith is so big, and it's just that, thank goodness. But almost losing my marriage. Like, the craziest thing that I felt like I had no control over. So
How did you almost lose it?
By losing sight of it. Like, being so focused on my career, taking for granted that my husband was right there with me, and not putting in the effort, you know, and realizing too late.
Really? Was it after you had kids?
I was pregnant with our first, and he's like...
He was saying peace out already?
I'm gonna
he was
hit
just
the road.
like,
I was a week overdue, and he's like, we're done. And I was like, oh.
Really?
That's gnarly. Yeah, and totally, like, he was going through stuff, but we were just like this, and I didn't recognize it, you know, and I was so selfish and so driven and so focused on winning the 2008 games. I just lost sight of my people. Like, you know, and I will never do that again. You know, and we founded a company called Platform 1440 so that we honor the minutes in the day. You know, there are only 1,440 minutes in the day. Like, that has become one of our greatest filters in life. Like, you're going to choose to do that. Does it service our 1440? Does it keep us connected, you know? And I'm terrible at it. But it's, you know, that awareness at least is
reminder.
great. Yeah.
So when you almost lost the marriage, how did you bring it back? How did you make it work?
Well, I came to the realization that I had a big hand to play in it. Like, I stopped feeling like a victim. And I stopped pointing the finger.
You didn't say, this is your fault, I've got this thing I'm doing here, don't you understand me?
No, he was right. Yeah. He was totally right. Yeah, so I just went to work on me.
Really?
Yeah, and then Casey, my husband, you know, was going through his own stuff, and my only prayer was, like, I pray for clarity for both of us, because neither of us were clear, and we were so angry and so hurt and, like, acting out, lashing out that way, you know, and so I just prayed for clarity. Thank goodness he went and did his work, you know, and we just worked our asses off. And it took time.
In the marriage and the relationship.
Yeah. I mean, it was like our psychologist, who's our performance psychologist, but who helped us navigate this, amazing. He was like, Kerri, if one of you has the tip of your baby toe in the door, there's hope. And literally, that's all my husband had in there. And I was all in.
He was out already. He was like, I'm done.
So hurt.
I don't want this.
Yeah.
What was hurting him the most?
I'm his girl, you know, and I wasn't honoring him. You know, like, we made a commitment to, like, love and cherish and support, and I was so selfish. And I have so much, like, I adore my husband. So much. And I would write him love letters. Like, I felt so connected to him on the road. But at some point, he just lost the connection fully. And, the notes, like, he would never read them. And he just felt, he was just so hurt, you know?
But you were still trying. You were sending him notes.
I was, yeah. But that's kind of half-assed. Like, I could have, there's so many other things, you know, and then when I get home, I'd be tired, and I wouldn't, like, suck it up, and, you know, because that energy exchange is everything, you know? I don't believe in faking things. Right. But I know I can make something special even if I'm tired.
Yeah,
because he deserves it, you know?
Of course.
So there wasn't a lot of, like,
so you're pregnant,
that for me.
You're pregnant, and he's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because you're not trying, you don't care.
Yeah. Well, he's like, we're just two different people living two different lives.
Wow.
We've changed. Like, so many heavy, heavy things were said where if I talk about it, I'm going to bawl.
How long were you married for or together for?
Well, we started dating in 2001. We got married in 2005.
Wow.
And that was 2009.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But I was going to say, like, it's like all the major heartbreak in my life, aside from losing my loved ones, has led me, like, which is so cliche, but it's led me down profound paths of self-growth and deeper intimacy with God, with my husband, you know, with my partners, and with the sport, you know. So it's truly a vehicle for self-growth, you know, failing and kind of living a messy life. However, I do believe that you can grow through joyful moments.
Of course.
And I would love to do that.
You don't have to be messy all the time to learn and grow. And yeah. Now, do you think you would have, I don't know how you'd have a better career, but do you think your career could have been better single without having a marriage?
God, No.
Do you feel like the marriage held you back in any ways?
No.
Or do you feel like it supported you in actually achieving all your dreams?
I mean, it's just at some point, so I fell in love with my husband like my first day on the beach. Like I met him. He was
a volleyball player too.
Yeah,
right?
and he's a stud. He's my favorite. God, no. No.
You couldn't have achieved the 3 gold medals on your own without him.
No. I mean, of course, but it's like I'm here to live life,
Right.
you know, and I want that full experience. Like before Beijing, I was like, I had a miscarriage. So we got married in 2005, I had a miscarriage. They're supposed to be twins, didn't split, and went to heaven. And so we had, the timing of it was like, we have to make a decision. Either don't play the next Olympics or wait and have babies after. And we're like, okay, we'll wait. We're young, we got it. But my job started to feel very trivial and very shallow.
Your job being?
My job being professional beach volleyball player.
Why was it trivial?
Just because I was ready for more. I was ready for family. And so just my husband brought a new layer of myself and my life and my world. And then children obviously enhance that by a billion. And so I'm here to like love life and just to do it with my guy, you know? And so no.
What's the greatest lesson that marriage has taught you about sports?
Oh, I mean, they're so similar.
Marriage is a sport, isn't it?
It's just
like a full contact sport.
Man, it's like what you do on the daily, like your habits. Basically, you are your habits, right? So if you're performing great on the court, your habits are probably pretty solid. You know, recovery, you're eating, you're working your ass off, all these things.
Mindset, everything.
You're connected with your partner.
Communication's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same thing with your marriage. Like it's those little things and those habits, you know, and it's so worth the time to water that side of life. And it's so important. And I've said this before, but I've never won a volleyball match when my husband and I are fighting. Never.
Really?
Ever. I can't do it.
Not even like an early round match?
No. Like for some reason we get like in fights in the later rounds. Like this should be
You're
illegal
like,
first of all.
But we're not talking for 2 weeks yet.
No, like you know, life is just crazy.
Yeah.
But like if my life is
you have
good,
you have to clear the fight first before you go into the match.
because my soul is just hurt.
Yeah.
Like he's part of my spirit, you know. And so if I'm feeling disconnected from Casey, then I'm just in trouble. You know, so that's how much my family, my people mean to me and affect me. And I love them so much. Like my goal in life is to be autonomous, because that's like the ultimate freedom. You know, I can be in command of myself. I can be in command of my tools in life, on the court, off the court. And I don't want to lean on anybody. But my people take me to the next level. And their love and their support, my love for them, make me so brave, you know, and capable of enduring anything. And so it's just that part of the equation is important to me.